In the 9th year after the Hijrah, Medina was no longer the small, fragile city it once had been. The message of Islam had spread across Arabia. Tribes had entered the faith in great numbers, and the Muslim Ummah had become a visible force in the region. Yet with growth came responsibility, and with strength came new challenges. This was a moment of transition. The early years of survival were ending, and the Ummah now stood at the threshold of confrontation with the greatest powers of the world. Medina was alive with movement, people walking through its streets, voices rising in conversation, preparations unfolding quietly. But beneath this outward calm lay an awareness. Something great was approaching. Leadership in Islam was never reactive. The Prophet Muhammad did not wait for danger to arrive at the city's gates. He understood that the preservation of the Ummah required foresight, courage, and unity. News had reached Medina of threats gathering in the north, forces that did not see the Muslims as equals, but as a challenge to be crushed. For the believers, this was a test of maturity. Faith was no longer only about patience under oppression. It was now about responsibility, sacrifice, and readiness. The Ummah had reached a stage where standing still was no longer an option. Medina, under the guidance of the Prophet, was being prepared for a defining moment. Hearts were being tested before bodies would be tested. Intentions were being weighed before swords were lifted. This was not just history unfolding. It was revelation guiding a community, step by step, teaching them that faith must move with reality. And that belief is proven not by words, but by action when difficulty arrives. And soon, that difficulty would arrive under the burning sun of the desert. To the north of Arabia stood the Roman Empire, a civilization unmatched in military strength, organization, and resources. For generations, its armies had dominated vast lands, crushing smaller nations without hesitation. To challenge Rome was not a symbolic act. It was a declaration that demanded courage beyond imagination. The Muslims of Medina knew this. They understood what it meant to face such a power. This was not a local skirmish. This was not a tribal conflict. This was the greatest empire of its time. The threat was real. The Romans saw the rapid spread of Islam as a danger to their influence in the region. Allied tribes were being drawn toward Medina, and the balance of power was shifting. Silence would be interpreted as weakness. Delay would invite attack. Islam does not teach fearlessness without wisdom. It teaches preparedness grounded in trust in Allah. The Prophet did not underestimate the enemy, nor did he magnify them beyond reality. He understood that victory does not come from numbers alone, but from sincerity, unity, and obedience. For the believers, the news stirred unease. Hearts felt the weight of what lay ahead. Some felt fear, others felt determination. This was natural. Faith does not remove human emotion, it disciplines it. Rome represented the world's power. Medina represented truth, and when truth stands against power, the outcome is never decided by weapons alone, but by what fills the hearts of those who carry them. The call to Tabuk was unlike any call before it. The Prophet made the destination, known openly, a rare decision, because the danger was immense and preparation was essential. There would be no secrecy. There would be no illusion of ease. The conditions were harsh. The heat was severe. The distance was long. The resources were scarce. And yet the call was clear. Every Muslim who was able was asked to participate. This was not a campaign fueled by excitement or emotion. It was a march built on discipline and sacrifice. People gave what they could: wealth, supplies, effort, knowing that nothing given for Allah is ever lost. True believers stepped forward without hesitation. Some gave large amounts, others had nothing but sincerity. Even those who owned only a single mount shared it with others. This was the Ummah at its most honest moment. Tabuk separated those who believed from those who merely claimed belief. It stripped away comfort and exposed intention. No one could pretend ignorance. No one could claim surprise. This was the moment where faith moved from the heart into action. Not everyone answered the call. In the shade of Medina, away from the burning sun, excuses began to form. Words were chosen carefully. Justifications were crafted convincingly. Fear was dressed as wisdom. "Do not go out in the heat," they said. To them, comfort outweighed commitment. Safety outweighed sacrifice. Their faith lived on the tongue, but not in the limbs. Allah exposed this mentality with clarity. Revelation does not argue with hypocrisy, it unmasks it. The Quran responded, "Say, the fire of hell is more intense in heat, if only they understood." This was not cruelty. It was mercy through truth. A reminder that avoiding hardship in this world does not protect. from the consequences of the next. Hypocrisy thrives in comfort but collapses under obligation. When faith demands nothing, everyone claims it. When faith demands everything, only the sincere remain. Surah At-Tawbah was revealed without softness. It carried no opening basmalah, signaling its seriousness. This was a chapter of exposure, purification, and accountability. It uncovered false oaths. It revealed hidden disbelief. It stripped away illusions. Allah described people who swore they had not spoken words of disbelief, yet they had. People who claimed loyalty, yet worked against the Ummah from within. This surah taught a crucial lesson. Islam does not survive on appearances. It survives on TR. Among all those who stayed behind, 3 men stood apart not because of strength, but because of honesty. Ka'b ibn Malik, Hilal ibn Umayyah, Murarah ibn al-Rabi'. They failed, but they did not lie. When asked, they spoke plainly. By Allah, we had no excuse. Truth became their trial. 50 days passed, no greetings, no conversations, no comfort. The city felt smaller. The world felt heavier. Yet their hearts did not turn away from Allah. This was purification through patience. On the 50th day, mercy descended. Allah accepted their repentance. The burden lifted. The trial ended. Tears replaced fear. The Prophet smiled and said, "Rejoice in the best day of your life." Surah At-Tawbah teaches us that sincerity saves even after failure. Hypocrisy destroys even when hidden. Allah accepts repentance, not perfection. And this lesson remains. For every heart that returns honestly to Him,